African Americans are starting to act like white people, specifically being xenophobic and this grudge we have against other black immigrants. I understand it's coming out of frustration and fear of being displaced, but we are not going anywhere.
I keep hearing this idea that we're all connected through the diaspora, and honestly, I'm not even arguing against that. But lately, I've been running into something that I can't really unsee once I noticed it.
If we had just a little bit more understanding about each other, we wouldn't be at war.
The United States as a whole, or the Western world as a whole, is a PR project. It's a PR project.
That's a very good way of putting it.
It is. One of the reasons why people want to move to the United States is because of the way that the United States sells itself to the world. The same media that has sold the United States in a certain way has sold African Americans to be the thugs.
Woo! That's fire. Whenever I see these diaspora wars break out, whether it's South Africa versus Nigeria, whether it's intra-country.
Because the way the diaspora gets discussed sometimes, it sounds like a real operating structure. Like there's this natural alignment, this shared instinct, this built-in loyalty. But when you actually watch how people move in real situations, that alignment starts looking a lot less automatic.
So I'm posting this at 2 a.m. because I like to tussle. I think diaspora wars are stupid. I think the people that consider themselves a part of the FBA are dangerous because the rhetoric that they spew is not only divisive, it doesn't help the common cause. It's not helping them push the goalpost but more. It is not, what are you doing? Being xenophobic, being racist, hating people that look like you.
Welcome to The Fine Print with your girl, Avery Morgan, where we break down the headlines, the conversations, and the realities people usually avoid saying out loud. And today, honestly, I just want to think out loud for a minute, because the more I started looking at real-world situations, the more I realized something felt disconnected between the idea of diaspora and the way people actually behave when pressure hits.
Different countries, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Ghana, Nigeria. Last in this year, we saw our South African in Nigeria. They were naked, running on the street. How do we feel as South African? We don't do those things to them, but they are doing things that it's painful to us. They are calling us names. How stupid we are as South African. We are just lazy. But in our own country, can they live? Can they leave? We don't have a problem with them. They must pack and leave.
And maybe I'm naive, but I really thought shared identity carried more weight than this. I thought shared history, shared struggle, shared roots meant people would naturally move with each other with a little more consistency. But the more I kept looking at real-world situations, the more I started noticing something else. When pressure hits, people usually organize around what protects their own interests first.
You should not attack the whole community because of somebody slipped the tongue or said something negative. We want to maintain our unity. We want to move with our unity as Kenyans. And those that have got an idea to be Kenyans, tafadhali, behave like a Kenyan. Behave like you love your country. Behave like you are patriotic. Behave like we can move together and build a Kenya that we can all be proud of.
And honestly, that part actually makes sense. National interests, economic interests, community interests, cultural interests. Every group seems to understand boundaries when something important is on the line. And that's when the disconnect started clicking for me. Look at the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Tensions around migration, deportation, border enforcement. Those conversations have existed for years. And to be clear, the treatment that the Haitians are facing in that situation is it's been wrong. But even inside that conversation, you still see something very clear. When pressure enters the picture, the idea of shared identity doesn't become the primary focus. Boundaries do. natural interest does. And what stood out to me wasn't even that they had boundaries. It was how normal it seemed, how openly understood it was. Nobody acts confused that the Dominican Republic prioritizes Dominican interests. And again, I'm not saying that emotionally, I'm just observing it. Then you look at South Africa. They have been, it's crazy. It's just been repeated tensions involving the migrants from other African countries.
A warrior formation for a war on foreigners, marching across South Africa's cities to warn African immigrants here that it's time to leave.
The leaders of this march are saying that it's peaceful, but it doesn't feel peaceful. They're brandishing weapons. They're in the heart of Johannesburg's central business district, making it clear to everyone here that they do not welcome African foreign nationals.
If you know yourself that you're not South African, please stand up. Please stand up. Please don't try and stand up right now. Stand up. Sister, are you South African? Are you South African? Because we are going to check everybody.
It's violence. Businesses are targeted. Arguments over jobs, housing, resources. And this is where the realization starts feeling heavier for me, because on paper, you would assume shared geography, shared struggle, shared history would create that stronger alignment. But when pressure increases, people still tend to fall back toward protecting what feels closest to them. Their own neighborhood, their own resources, their own stability. And again, I'm not even saying that's unusual. I think human beings naturally move that way. I just didn't expect it to be this consistent everywhere. Then you look at Tunisia. Sub-Saharan African migrants have faced immigration crackdowns, public tension, and political pressure around migration policy. And once again, the broader idea of collective identity starts weakening once practical interest enters the room. And maybe that's the part that surprised me the most. Not that people protect themselves, but how quickly broader unity becomes secondary when things feel unstable. And honestly, the more examples I saw, the harder it became to ignore the pattern. And honestly, you even see versions of this outside traditional diaspora conversations. Look at Mexico. Migration debates are constant. Who gets in? Who moves through? Who gets stopped? What serves national stability? And what stood out to me wasn't chaos. It was clarity. When it comes to national interest, there's no confusion. There's no hesitation. There's no apology. No expectation that the country should stop prioritizing itself. It's just understood. And that's when I really started asking myself, wait, why does this become controversial only in certain conversations? Because once you step back, you start noticing the same pattern repeating across completely different groups, countries, and cultures. When pressure hits, people tend to organize around what feels closest to them, their nation, their community, their immediate interests.
I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together.
And honestly, I don't even think that makes people bad. I think most people quietly understand that already. What started throwing me off was realizing the expectation didn't seem mutual. And that's where the FBA conversation started feeling different to me, because FBA are often spoken to like participation in a global framework is automatic, as if alignment is already assigned, as if the expectation is you are supposed to think collectively by default. But then I kept looking around, and most groups don't actually move that way themselves. They may cooperate, they may support each other sometimes, they may show solidarity in moments. But when important interests are involved, most groups still prioritize themselves openly. And nobody really questions their right to do that. But when FBA start having conversations about boundaries, interests, identity, resources, or priority, suddenly the reaction changes. And that's the part I couldn't stop thinking about. So maybe the misunderstanding wasn't assuming diaspora meant people would consistently move as one collective. Maybe diaspora is culturally real, historically real, emotionally real, but not always operationally real. And maybe that's what I had to finally sit with. That most people, when things get difficult, naturally return to protecting what feels closest to them. And honestly, maybe the real surprise isn't that people maintain boundaries. Maybe the surprise is realizing who's expected not to. Stay informed, stay engaged, and always read the fine print. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening.